Welcome to the 2024 City of Inglewood State of the City Address and Economic Summit. Please welcome our Master of Ceremony to the stage, the legendary NBC4 Sports anchor, Fred Rogan.
Hey everybody, please grab a seat as we would like to get started. Be out of here before 5 o'clock traffic. Please grab your seat. Thanks for being here. This is a pretty cool event. All of us can be here and share in something so wonderful, really in one of the great buildings, not only in American sports, but in the world. Have you had a chance to look around at the Intuit Dome? You are very fortunate to be in here today. It's sort of a sneak peek. Not many people have an opportunity to see this, and they won't until it opens officially. It's funny how this came about. So Steve Ballmer wanted to bring his team to the City of Champions and kind of zoned in on this land. Well, as the story goes, there seemed to be a bit of a roadblock at one point because MSG, which owned the Forum, James Dolan, you know that guy's story. Anyway, he was going to cause a problem. And Steve Ballmer is a deal maker, not a deal breaker. So what he did was, instead of going through prolonged litigation and trying to worry about it, he called his wife. He said, honey, let me ask you a question. Can you check the couch and just see how much money fell into the couch recently? And she goes, oh, honey, like $400 million. No problem, I'll just buy the Forum and then we'll have this done on time. By the way, if you're not aware, there are 1300 urinals in this building. There are more urinals in here than any arena in the United States. Thank you. For those with bladder issues, thank you. And the thing about it is this. Steve doesn't want you to miss 1 second of the game. He wants you up, he wants you down. And the thing he really wants you to do as we leave this afternoon is try all 1,300 of them to make sure they work. And he means the ladies too. Now, being here today, I was very excited, but I kind of feel like there was a little of the old bait and switch. Anybody feel that way? I mean, I was told today we were going to celebrate a man that had unparalleled vision, great leadership, unbelievable courage, and had built a body of work for all to be proud of. Then I find out that Bronny James isn't going to be here today. So instead, we're going to celebrate the mayor of Inglewood, James T. and the City of Champions. We would also like to acknowledge, right off the top, our very special platinum sponsors, beginning with the Intuit Dome.
happens when you make the unforgettable unmissable.
When you see that video, don't you want to rush down here and buy property right now? Is this not one of the great cities, not only in the state of California, but in the United States? And you think back some years ago, before Mayor Butts took office, and you look at it today, this is truly one of the great success stories in American history. Now we would like to bring up the color guard from the Inglewood PD. And now, with the Pledge of Allegiance, we welcome up the Inglewood Early Learners Youth. You guys were really good. Sabrina Barnes has dedicated her adult life to advocating for the well-being of youth, families, and older adults. In 1991, Sabrina began her career with the city of Inglewood, where she held various roles in the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department, which allowed her to make a profound impact on the lives of the city's most precious resources, children and senior citizens. Her unwavering dedication allowed her to improve the lives of most of the vulnerable members of society, earning her the respect and admiration of her colleagues and community members. Last October, she retired from the position of Parks and Rec and Community Services after 32 years of service. In addition to her professional achievements, Sabrina also serves as a youth mentor and supports various organizations that serve the unhoused. She is a member of the National Council of Negro Women, the NAACP, National Parks and Recreation Association, NPRA, and Inglewood Alumni Chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Sabrina is a resident of the city of Inglewood. She enjoys traveling, desktop publishing, all things technology, and singing being one of her first loves. And like most soulful singers, Sabrina got her start singing in the church choir. It was there that she developed her style and her ability to breathe life into a song.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly strewn. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
How cool was that? The kids, Sabrina, the color guard. Yeah, you can guys sit down again. It's good. It's good. Is this an event or what? I mean, you look at this and what the city of Inglewood has accomplished. I want to tell you a little bit about how I know the mayor and why I'm here today. So the mayor and I became friends right before the Rams relocated from St. Louis. And the reason we became friends, quite frankly, is I had him on my TV show on Channel 4. And I basically told him, you know, nobody believes you. Nobody thinks you can do this. You're a stalking horse. You're being used, and at the end, people may laugh at you. Because that's what was being said, quite frankly, in the Los Angeles media. And he looked at me and he goes, we're not losing. We're not losing. We're not a stalking horse. Other people are going to be laughing. And I said, but you know, people feel you're being taken advantage of, Mayor. He goes, they can think whatever they want. They'll soon find out that we weren't. And from that moment on, that night in our studio at NBC, and then the mayor's been on the radio program numerous times. From that moment on, I looked at the mayor and I went, you know what, this guy's not going to lose. This guy's the real deal. He's probably smarter than everybody, but everybody else just doesn't know it. And from that point in time, we became friends. And I would like to say we became good friends because of the respect and admiration I had for him. And I think somewhere deep down, the feeling that I believed him. I respected him. I knew he was no fool. I knew other people would be looking at the end of the day and going, oh my God, he was right. I'm talking about the mayor. And I think the mayor believed that in Los Angeles at that time, the only media member that actually got it was me. Because I took the time to get to know him. I took the time to spend time with him. If I told you how many times we were on the phone late at night, not doing anything weird, people, But talking about the relocation, talking about the city of Inglewood, we became very good friends. There are a few people I have as much respect for in my life, and since I'm old now, I've met a lot of people, as the mayor. He is genuine, he is kind, and most importantly, he has integrity and he is courageous. He is courageous in what he has done here. He is courageous dealing with the people he has dealt with, convincing those to come back to Inglewood. This is a thriving city. This is all growth. With the Olympics coming, the Super Bowl was here. This is going to be one of the great cities, not in America, but in the world. And it's all due to the hard work of the mayor, collaborating, bringing people together, fixing the infrastructure, and making Inglewood something not only everybody can be proud of, but should be proud of. And there's a funny story on how it got started and how we got back here. Watch the video.
James Butts, the city of Inglewood has fallen. Once known as the City of Champions, it has gone from being the home of the three-peat Showtime Lakers, the 1984 Olympic basketball site, concerts at the Forum and the Hollywood Park racetrack, to being known only as the home of the Big Donut. The city is broken with no future in sight. With an $18 million deficit, a financial apocalypse is looming. Its general fund reserves are exhausted. In 4 months, by June of 2011, the city will not make payroll and be bankrupt. By November, a state receiver will be appointed to govern the city. Inglewood's bonds are junk rated. Roads are potholed and in desperate need of renewal. The trees are trimmed once every 20 years. Crime is unacceptably high, and the parks are unmaintained and in desperate despair. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to restore the City of Champions to its once and future glory.
I see progress. I see a renaissance.
Nothing on that beat, nope.
In 2011, we made the Forum deal. By 2016, the Forum is California's top concert appeal. Secured $100 million for soundproofing. We were getting strong. I was re-elected by the voters in 2014. Highest number of votes in history. Once again, I belong. Re-elected again in 2018. Trust was retained. Inglewood has risen, and progress has been sustained. Named LA Business Journal's top 500 8 consecutive years. Prevented bankruptcy, Inglewood's now City of the Year. Rams and Chargers, the NFL's back. By 2020, we're all the way back. 2016 Clippers talk about a new home in Inglewood. The Girl Scouts, LA Phil, YouTube Theater, 6,000 seats. The NFL Network, Showtime, the city's heart once again beats. Super Bowl win, the Rams are on the throne. By 2023, NCAA and WrestleMania will call Inglewood home. Clippers Dome in 2024. I guarantee you, by 2026, NBA All-Star fans will want much more. FIFA World Cup, the Olympics, the city will gleam. Inglewood, the city of champions, the city of dreams. No, they're not like us. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Well, he's not only the mayor, he's Tom Cruise. What has happened to you? My God, the mayor of Inglewood and my dear friend, James T. Butts.
Thank you, guys. You honor me. Now, I'm going to tell you, before we get started, Gillian Zucker, the president of the Clippers, wanted me to make something clear to you. And I didn't think it was necessary, but I'm going to tell you. We're only at 90% completion, and she just didn't want you to think that we brought you into something that wasn't ready. But I said, it's beautiful. So could you guys give Steve Ballmer and Gillian a big hand? Okay, Sam, before I speak, I got to tell you guys something. This is going to be a little longer than the normal state of the city, okay? Because 60 minutes is not giving us our moment, and so we have to make sure everybody knows what we're about, and more importantly, to thank the people that worked with us to get here. Now, there are a lot of people here who are going to represent greatness coming up here. Steve Ballmer, Casey Wasserman, president of the LA 28 Olympics and Paralympic Games, Antonio Villaraigosa, the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Demoff of the Rams, Otto Malley of the Rams, although he won't come up, he's here, he's joined us, and Jeb Terry from COSM. And you know, they're all great people, but you know why they're great people? Because they gathered great people to work with them. And so, when I left Inglewood and went to Santa Monica, we did great things. Cut the crime rate 64%. Everybody told me I was a great chief. And the quiet thing that was not to be said was that you're in a better city, and that makes you better now. Went to the airport. I hope Lydia Kennard is here. She was the one that was smart enough to hire me, tell Antonio Villaraigosa to hire me. And we went from being ridiculed for aviation security to #1 in the country by 2009. But again, it was the great people that I promoted and had working with me. Came back to Inglewood, and I always said, it doesn't get any better than this. When I got to Santa Monica, I said, man, it didn't get any better than this. When I got to the airport, I had a $114 million budget. I had 1,100 employees, and I said, it doesn't get any better than this. Came back to Inglewood. When I left, there were the Kings, the 3-peat Showtime Lakers. Racetrack was doing 43,000 people 6 days a week on the average. We had the Sizzler, the Big Donut, Denny's and Zodi's. When I came back, all we had was Sizzler and the Big Donut and an $18 million structural deficit. And I said, it doesn't get any worse than this. But you know what I found out? There were great people ready to coalesce behind a vision that they could be part of something bigger than themselves. And so right now, I want to recognize all the employees that volunteered to help put this together. Would you guys all stand up and could you give them a big hand? The people that took the lead were Sharice Rose and Maria Barba, executive assistant to the mayor and to the city manager. And Sharice is the voice of God, just so you guys don't know that. Now, before I get started, there's one more person a couple more people I want to recognize. Halima Ginyard, the president of the Inglewood Airport Chamber of Commerce. Lisa Trifoletti of Trifoletti and Associates. most important person in the room, Judy Butts, my wife, my daughter Katrina, my goddaughter Crystal. And there's one last person, and I'll get started. Oh, I got to tell you guys something. So, like I said, it's going to be a little longer than usual, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be very informative. We don't want you to leave because we got a story to tell. And the cameras in the arena are finished, so we'll know everybody that leaves early. So there's one person, and I hope he's here, and that's Rob Pessis. Rob, are you here? Okay, now let me tell you, Rob Pessis is a very important person. He was the president of the Inglewood Police Officers Association, and I had never, ever considered going into elected office or even trying. He came to the airport in 2009, and he said, Chief, because they still called me Chief from when I was in Inglewood. He said, the city's about to go bankrupt, and they're about to have an election for a temporary mayor seat, and would you come back and run for mayor? I said, Rob, elected officials are pinheads. I said, I'm a man of substance. And he convinced me to leave a job that was paying me $225,000 a year on top of my pension to try to get a job that was $111,000 a year with no guarantee. But you know what? I owed everything that I became to the city of Inglewood. They gave me an opportunity to show my worth. And so I said, heck, how hard could it be? Well, 4 elections later, I found out how hard it could be. And the only election I won, I was a runner-up in all of them except for the runoff for the permanent mayor. And now here we are. And so I want to thank everyone and welcome you to Inglewood, California. It's such an honor to have you here in the City of Champions. We've experienced such an evolution in the last 10 years here. Just to set the stage, okay, I'm an MBA. I graduated summa cum laude. I've commanded 3 police departments over a 37-year law enforcement career. I did the first 19 years in Inglewood. So I can say with authority, 11 years ago, nobody ever thought of doing anything big in Inglewood. Now, everybody from Inglewood, am I right? When I took office in February 2011, we had $0 in the general fund and an $18 million structural deficit. By June, we would not make payroll and we would be insolvent. Our bond rating was BBB-, that's just above junk, and our unemployment rate was 17.5%, the highest in the nation. Immediately, we cut 139 positions from the budget. We imposed a 10% pay reduction furlough on the city council and all employees of the city. We abolished the false promise of a lifetime medical program. That was very popular. We outsourced parking control, street sweeping, and used temporary agencies for payroll. Our roads were a mess. We had 19,000 trees in our inventory, and we were trimming about 600 trees a year, in a good year. So you would get your tree trimmed in Inglewood once every 30 years. We had 2 street sweepers and 2 sweeper operators. Now this is the truth. One of the sweepers was usually down for repairs, but that was okay because at any given time, one of the operators was out on workers' compensation leave. So it was like genius. Inglewood's predicament in 2011 recalls a scene in Ernest Hemingway's novel, The Sun Also Rises. And one character says to the other, "How did you go bankrupt?" And the other responded, 2 ways. Gradually, then suddenly. That was what was going to happen to Inglewood. I was so popular for those emergency financial moves that the downtown union local leadership organized picket protests at my neighborhood at Christmas of 2011. They passed out flyers with a picture of me superimposed on a 1930s vintage top hat with the inscription, Mayor Scrooge. The only saving grace, it was such a damn good picture of me. Now, Eloy remembers that because courageous, Eloy Morales, would you stand up for a minute? Is Ralph Franklin here too? Would you give them a hand? They came out and stood on my street with me that night in a stare-down contest with the union. Well, it all worked out. Since 2011, we've raised employee salaries for both sworn and civilian members of our workforce over 50%. Now, you should give a hand for that because they stuck through the tough times. Since those tough days of financial crisis and criticism, what we have done in this city has been accomplished by only 3 other cities in the United States in the fields of sport teams acquisition, entertainment, and retail growth. And those 3 are mega cities: New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. However, what we've accomplished here in Inglewood in 10 short years took those cities a generation to accomplish. A generation. What we've discovered is that it's important to blend your accomplishments into your city's brand. And what we found is that one accomplishment sets the foundation for the next, and so on, and so on, and so on. Today, I ask you to put aside, and these are elected officials, to put aside for the moment your perception of what a typical State of the City speech sounds like. This one will be visual as well as auditory. And it is, in fact, actually an economic summit. So what's an economic summit? It's right there on the screen. I'm also asking you to engage in a little bit of political heresy with me. And everybody's saying, what did he say, heresy? Yes, heresy. Here's what heresy is. So for the moment, put aside the conventional wisdom of how an elected official representing a jurisdiction or municipality typically operates and thinks. In that paradigm, there are only winners and losers. Elections are a zero-sum game. So let's look at the definition of a zero-sum game. It means if somebody wins, somebody else has to lose. This is what elections typically boil down to. Somebody loses. The problem is manifested when this paradigm carries over into taking office. When becoming reelected for the sake of maintaining office becomes the primary goal, vision is sacrificed for mediocrity. So, strategic risk-taking is considered unsafe for the next election. Well, I'm here to tell you that is just not true. Now I'm going to discuss geographical heresy for political purposes. We're raised to believe that these dark boundary lines for the 88 cities that demarcate them actually mean something to people. They matter when someone wants to purchase real estate or open a business. But the average traveler who wants to spend money on entertainment and retail doesn't care about these boundaries. The cars and people moving throughout the county, they don't know these lines exist. I'll tell you what they do know. They know what they want to go see, they know where they want to stay, and they know what they want to buy. So here's your task, to let them know that your city has what they want. This thinking has worked for us. Let's discuss some Inglewood growth facts that verify this. 1, we built an advertising agreement based on our vision for the future. We put out a request for proposals for advertisers to build at vendor expense full-motion billboards on city land that would be the property of the city of Inglewood. The vendor would populate the boards and pay a minimum payment to the city while we worked on the resurgence of Inglewood. We were criticized for this decision, but I found the difference in scorn and praise is sometimes found in voice inflection. For example, after the wild billboards were operational, we had people that said, "It looks like Las Vegas." Now, they pull in about $8 million per year for the city, and people say, "Wow, it looks a lot like Las Vegas here." See the difference? Same words, different inflection. Contrary to most private pensions, the California Public Employees Pension System is designed and financed to deliver fixed benefits to retirees. Cities pay premiums based on the actuarial tables, how long they expect folks will live, and the anticipated rates of return on the investment of the premiums. When the economy lags and the market returns dip below assumptions, the funding gap is referred to an unfunded liability. We all know that the unfunded liability is soared in our own cities and nationwide. In California alone, the unfunded liability is currently close to $500 billion. That's for CalPERS pensions. CalPERS charges cities an interest rate equal to their anticipated, but not actual, rate of return, which for the long term is 7.75%. In Inglewood, we twice traded about $100 million of this 7.75% debt during declines in the economy to the bond market for 2.5%. This is like refinancing your home at a sharply lower rate. It seems to make common sense, right? Well, we were criticized by a state senator for making this common debt swap, and we were ridiculed by the newspapers, the state treasurer, and our own Inglewood city treasurer. The unfunded liability floats, and there is some risk if a city refinances all of it. So you don't want to pay off all of it because they may get more returns than they think, and your unfunded liability will be less. But the reality is that we pay a payment every year on the unfunded portion, and we pay on the regular portion. And so if you reduce that unfunded liability portion, you can save about 15 million years during that time period. And that's what we have done. More importantly, it freed up cash flow for infrastructure improvements. So we figured it out along the way while we were trying to become great. This city has seen unprecedented investment, and the benefits to our residents and the region is profound. Unemployment in Inglewood as of April is 5.3%, 1/3 of what it was a little over a decade ago. Our all-time low was 4.8% in April of 2023. Our all-time high was 17.5% in 2010 to 2011. I want to thank the South Bay Workforce Investment Board because they provided the apprentices to build this building. We have a 35% local hire goal, so let's hear it for Jan Vogel in South Bay. The number of jobs in Inglewood itself is growing, and those benefits are flowing to the community. Black workers make up about 22% of the workforce in the city, compared to the countywide average of 8.4%. Latinx workers make up 45.5% of the Inglewood workforce, compared to about 40.8%. We're 92% black and brown city. It's hard to imagine this success without the investments that were made in our community. A $120 million renovation of the Forum, $5+ billion construction of SoFi, and a $2+ billion investment to build the venue we're in today, the most magnificent arena. SoFi is the most magnificent stadium in the world. This is the most magnificent arena in the world, the Intuit Dome. And you're the first ones in it. According to the LAEDC, the construction of this building alone generated well over $1 billion in wages and benefits for over 16,000 workers. And the city is not done yet. This robust investment in infrastructure must be matched by an investment in transit to help workers and visitors get to their destinations and to relieve pressure on our streets. The Inglewood Transit Connector, is it up there yet, you guys? Is a $1.6 mile elevated people mover that will connect the Metro K line to these venues and allow the city to establish new transit-oriented communities around each of the 3 stations. And just like construction at SoFi, the Intuit Dome, and the renovation of the Forum, the ITC is going to create meaningful jobs and income for the city and its residents. This is a project that will be built with union workers, many of which will be local hires under a community workforce agreement with significant small and disadvantaged business subcontractor participation. The ITC is expected to generate more than $3.3 billion in economic output throughout the county and support over 17,000 jobs. With an estimated 9.7 million boardings for the first year of operation, the ITC is anticipated to reduce the number of vehicle miles traveled by 1.5 billion over the next 50 years, thereby creating significant environmental benefits, reducing congestion, and expanding access to Metro's regional system. The project has garnered the support of elected officials at all levels of government, a diverse array of local residents and stakeholders, and environmental, transit, and labor stakeholders. With $1.9 billion in local, state, and federal funds that were donated for this 9 square mile city, we're on track to complete our procurement process for a developer to design and build the ITC, and expect to see construction begin in the next year. It will be a significant piece to fully realize the renaissance of our city. We're getting support for our local schools. The Greater Los Angeles Education Foundation has established a $12.75 million education endowment to create a lasting impact in the lives of youth living in Inglewood. The Inglewood Youth Foundation Education Fund will provide long-term support to nonprofit organizations and initiatives serving the educational needs of Inglewood youth. At about $400,000 a year will be the endowment. The Inglewood Youth Education Fund was made possible by the City of Inglewood. Well, they got Mayor James T, but I'm just the mayor, in connection with the construction of the Intuit Dome. The YMCA, decades ago, departed from Inglewood. It's coming back, we believe. And there's a proposal being looked at and vetted to build a $30 million facility in the heart of Inglewood. Dr. Morris, the county administrator of the IUSD, and board member Dr. Carlos McGee are the point players involved in making this happen. Can we give them a big hand? Now, to other elected officials, if your city's reached your definition of the pinnacle of success, then you need not pay attention to what follows, because I'm not talking about making incremental changes based on old beliefs and behaviors. I'm talking about a total shift of paradigm, beliefs, and thought processes. I'm here to talk about what this summit is really about, 2 words and 2 concepts. The first is synergy. The second word is collaborate. There can be no synergy without collaboration. And let me tell you what I've learned in my 52 years of municipal service. No city is an island, and it doesn't matter who you meet unless you collaborate with them to your mutual benefit. And here's the proof. Before I was an elected official, I met 4 presidents as the chief of police in Santa Monica, but they were all for photo ops, except for one. Met Governor Pete Wilson, photo op. The only friend out of the bunch was Bill Clinton, because he wanted a jogging buddy when he came to Santa Monica. Bill and I became friendly, but as the chief of police, I never, ever collaborated with elected officials, because see, when you're in the police department, all you do is ask for what you want. Everybody's afraid not to give it to you. It's a whole different life, whole different life. When I became the mayor of Inglewood, it was pretty lonely. Now, how many people are old enough to remember the Maytag commercial about the Maytag repairman? Okay? Well, being the mayor here in Inglewood then was like being the Maytag repairman. Nobody called and nobody visited. First person I collaborated with was Councilman John Mears from Beverly Hills in 2013. He convinced me to run for the Metro Board because he felt the Southwest Corridor, which is the corridor that we're in for Metro, it stretches from Santa Monica to Rancho Palos Verdes, was not receiving its fair share of Metro funding. In fact, I think Stephanie Wiggins, the CEO of Metro, is here. Stephanie, would you stand up so we could recognize you? It's a $14 billion operations and construction operation. I won the vote 60-40, and I'm in my 3rd term on the Metro Board. Then I met Drew Boyles from El Segundo. Drew, would you stand up? Turn around. He's a good-looking guy. He was such a cool guy. Now, here's the history of Inglewood and El Segundo, okay, back in the day. You just didn't go to El Segundo. It was a sundown town, right? But I knew we were going to be friends after he invited me to have dinner in El Segundo after dark. So many of my friends have all been involved in this renaissance of the once great and then failed city of Inglewood. And the whole we have produced together has proved to be greater than the sum of its parts. No organization can move in a unified, cohesive, and successful direction without acknowledging a leader with the ultimate responsibility. In cities, this typically is the individual selected citywide, the mayor. The typical political infighting and attention-seeking that occurs on city councils results in political uncertainty. In my experience, political uncertainty is interpreted by big business as a risk of capital. Now, let me tell you something. We used to have a clown show here in Inglewood for council meetings. They'd go like 7 hours, and they were just political infighting. And when I came, I tried to shorten them, and we got down to like 5 hours, but until we changed the composition, it didn't work. And so what we've developed is a multi-jurisdictional political team that sacrifices self-promotion in the service of the greater good. We have established in Inglewood a public service team. And could the council members please stand up? The effective leader will also come to realize that their power is directly linked to how much greatness they're willing to grant to others. Their willingness to shoulder the blame alone for all losses, but share the spotlight for every success. So let me give you a case study of how this has worked out for us here in the city of Inglewood. Home values. Just a mere 2 months ago, there was a study produced that showed just how much Inglewood has evolved. We're now ranked 8th highest in median home values in California. There are 482 cities in the Golden State. Not only that, property values have tripled in Inglewood since 2011, a city that was forecast to be bankrupt by June of 2011. Why are property values significant to our residents? Because for the first time, Inglewood residents have the opportunity to provide generational wealth for our children. How did we do it? How do you create synergy and collaboration? Let me tell you how it worked for us. 3 steps. First, you have to get your act together internally as a city. In most cities, there's subtle intra-family warfare politically. The body sometimes refuses to accept that there has to be a single leader to negotiate. The council has to unite behind that leader, or you will not have partners that come to ask to risk millions or billions of dollars to develop in your city. We decided a long time ago to let the mayor lead. The chief executive is defined by our charter. In Inglewood, people know that you're not going to circumvent the lead negotiator by going to individual council members. Step 2, be creative while being transparent. Follow the Brown Act, because when you trust one another, you don't have to have out-of-public conversations about public business. The public business must be done in public. When you have your act together and you develop a sense of confidence and trust in each other, you are more likely to find that you have unanimity on the issues as they are brought to the body in public. You don't have to have offline discussions. For instance, when I negotiated with Madison Square Garden, here's the proposed deal that resulted in the resurrection of a dead icon, the Fabulous Forum. The deal points were the city would take our last $18 million of redevelopment funds to go towards the renovation, $120 million renovation of the Forum. The City Council unanimously bought in. Trust and collaborations were our secret weapons. We've always had a united front in these types of negotiations. Madison Square Garden, MSG, was required to pay the city $1 million a year in property taxes, admission taxes, and sales taxes. In any given year, when those tax receipts would fall short at the end of the year, MSG was required to make up the difference from their own pocket. The loan would be forgiven after 10 years if they adhered to the requirements of the deal. We made much more than that every year. Basically, the city used funding that would have gone back to the state of California because redevelopment had been dissolved, and by the next January, that money would have been gone, to instead generate local economic development. It proved critical to the city to reopen the Forum, a dead icon, because that transaction proved that the city would once again be economically viable. Giving $18 million to a multi-billion-dollar company without explanation would ordinarily raise suspicion and cynicism. Because of our transparency as a council, the public was on board. Step 3, work with progressive elected officials from outside your jurisdiction and be mutually supportive. Reach for the stars, envision realistic opportunities, be open to your possibilities, and remember, there is no such thing as luck. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Be prepared and ready to seize your opportunities as a city. In 2013, I was approached by the owner of the Raiders, and 2 years later, by the owner of the Rams, Stan Kroenke, to discuss the possibility of bringing a national football team to Inglewood. The end result was not one, but 2 NFL teams, the Rams and the Chargers. Let's hear it for the Rams and the Chargers. You can make it louder than that for 2 football teams. And not only football, but basketball, the Clippers of Inglewood has returned to the City of Champions. As it turned out, we attracted much more than sports and entertainment. We bought an old building near City Hall that had been the security bank where I had my first checking account at 19 years of age. It had also become a Burger King. We paid $4.5 million for the property, and we sold it to the LA Philharmonic for $6 million 11 months later. So in 11 months, we made $1.5 million and ended up with the LA Philharmonic Youth Orchestra program. We would have taken a loss on the building to bring them here, but we didn't have to. And the first class of students, 80% of them were residents of Inglewood. We bought the Girl Scouts of Greater Los Angeles from Marina Del Rey here. They're 35,000 strong. We have the YouTube Theater, 6,000 seats. We have the NFL Network from Culver City. Showtime has opened a 110,000 square foot production studio in the north end of the city. And we've had numerous housing developments along with proposals for 6 hotels to be built in the city of Champion. Remember, all of these entities watched our council meetings, and they watch yours. And they search YouTube and Google to see real time how they're conducted and whether they result in political harmony. Business people have an aversion to a risk of capital. Part of the construction process is securing short-term loans for construction. They have sunset dates by which they have to be paid back. Most pro formas for multi-million-dollar companies have an ROI, a return on investment window, of 10 or 15 years. The quicker they get started, the sooner they start to get a return on their investment. It has to be part of your culture. To be great, you need to change your political culture from the priorities of being elected and staying elected. The culture must change to being a team that is vision-oriented, away from the focus on self to the focus of the many. What I've found is that many officials don't recognize that their council meetings are branding opportunities. When people see arguing and dissent, they see disagreement among people who are supposed to be unified in bringing the city forward. Difficult decisions need to be made to bring millions of dollars to your city. It makes a statement to investors. They ask themselves, how much time and how much impact will these dysfunctional relationships add to my risk of capital? So let's talk about some outcomes. In August, between 6 Taylor Swift concerts and Beyonce's 3 concerts, there were over 750,000 people that came to what we call the Palace on Prairie, SoFi. I thought that was cute. Okay. And easily, 1/4 of those fans needed hotel accommodations. Now, here's the synergy opportunity for all of us. Approximately 150,000 of those fans needed hotel accommodations. Inglewood doesn't have the capacity for the hostel stays of 150,000 people. However, the South Bay and surrounding cities do. The city has an app that we enroll city residents in that gives free notice to our residents that there will be an event a few days out and notifies them of the times for inbound and outbound so they can take alternative routes around Prairie, Manchester, and Century. Surrounding cities could develop an app in which they could use to give similar notifications with cell phone numbers to notify potential customers of these events, and they could send out their own notices from their own city websites. This is just one idea of how we can work together. So I'd like to hear from some of you about what we can do to win together. The City Council of Inglewood wants to know, and I want to know, what do you think? How can we all benefit from these unique collaborations? Ask yourself, how will we invest as a municipality to help our businesses prepare and be ready for these unique opportunities? So let's take inventory of our own community assets, whether it's a Taylor Swift or Beyonce concert, 8 FIFA World Cup matches, Super Bowl 61, which comes in 2027, or the 2028 Olympic Games in 2028, these economic assets will collectively bring billions of dollars into the County of Los Angeles. In other words, we will all win. We all have economic assets to bring to the table. What we need to do is communicate, collaborate, and advertise the economic assets that each of us has to offer. Multiple millions of people from around the world are coming. The time to prepare is now. We're talking about opportunities that will stretch out over the next 4 years. 4 years of continual opportunity, 4 years to collaborate and grow together, 4 years of municipal synergy. So what's next? In closing, please remember that I said in February 2011, we had zero money in reserves. We had completed our audit last week, and we now have an estimated $170 million in general fund reserves. Three days ago, this past Tuesday, the City Council voted to provide the residential owners in Inglewood a prosperity dividend of $500 per household to over 11,000 residents at a cost of $5.75 million. From general fund reserves. This is after providing about $6 million to pay delinquent water bills of residents and to small businesses and nonprofits in Inglewood that were impacted during COVID-19. Yes, indeed, I do see a renaissance. I want to thank you, everybody, and we're going to move right along. Thank you very much. Amen. So anyway, we're going to recognize our county partners first. Come near me. Supervisor Holly Mitchell, Supervisor Janice Hahn,
Board Chair.
and the board chair. Oh my God, I have Lindsay Horvath. Now let me tell you about Lindsay. Please give her a big hand. Lindsay, for my re-election, my second re-election, came and walked with me door to door when she was a council member in West Hollywood. So give her a big hand. Holly Mitchell was an assemblywoman. She doesn't remember this, but when we were trying to put those boards up, there was redevelopment law that was going to prevent us from doing it. And it involved, we had to change one line in the redevelopment law. And she spearheaded that for us when I came up and testified, and we got that change, and that has been worth close to $80 million to the city now. Okay. Janice Hahn I met when she was on the city council, and from there she's gone to Congress, but I was working at the airport, and she's just had an amazing continued ascension. She's the only one on the stage other than me that just can't seem to keep a stable job. So we're all on the Metro board together, and they have all been champions for the city of Inglewood, and I wanted to recognize them right now. Please, please give them a big hand, a standing ovation.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. All right, Inglewood.
Right, the mic is yours, 30 seconds.
Inglewood, it gives me great pride and pleasure to represent you on the all-female LA County Board of Supervisors. And I want to congratulate you. I think Mr. Rogan was confused about where he was this morning, talking about that other top draft pick. So let me say congratulations to the new home of the Clippers. And Cam is going to do big things with his 19-year-old small forward self. So give yourselves a round of applause. Mr. Mayor, we love you with our whole heart. We love serving with you on the Metro Board, and you are a man of vision, and all of us are elected policymaker, big thinkers just like you, and with this partnership, more great things will happen for this region and for the city of Inglewood. Give yourselves a round of applause, Inglewood.
Thank you. Take a picture.
Thank you. All right.
Now we're going to hear from Supervisor Chair Lindsay Horvath.
I will keep it brief because there's nothing more exciting, I know, than hearing politicians talk for a long period of time. But I am thrilled to be here. I love celebrating in Inglewood. And as a true Clippers fan, and on my resume, I can say I have been a Clippers season ticket holder, and I will be again. But I just am so thrilled to see the progress that's happened in Inglewood and to have the partnership of the city. Count on us, call on us. We're ready to be here when you need us.
Lynn, take these spread.
Thank you for honoring us, Mayor Butts. I grew up in Inglewood, right? I grew up at Crenshaw and Florence. All three of my children were born at Daniel Freeman Hospital. My dear sweet parents have real estate in the cemetery currently. So I love Inglewood, but Mayor Butts, what you have done is absolutely spectacular. And as the new incoming chair of the Metro Board of Directors, I look forward to doing whatever we can to improve transportation opportunities here in Inglewood, which really will benefit our entire region. You are an incredible man. This city is lucky to have you as its mayor.
So I want to call up to the stage Paul Eccles, Artie Fields, and Mark Weinberg. Now, Paul is probably a little surprised.
Yeah.
He was a city manager like 1 year after I came onto the city in 1973 or 74, something like that. He's the longest serving city manager in the history of the city, 24 years. 24 years. And he made an incredibly wise decision, one of his incredibly wise decisions. In the police department, we had taken the deputy chief of police position off the table. And the chief at the time, he traveled a lot. I was operations captain, and I was like the de facto chief. Well, I know that he didn't do it, but Paul put the deputy chief position back on the table. I competed, and I became the deputy police chief in Inglewood. He doesn't do that. I can't apply to be the police chief in Pasadena and Santa Monica. And so, Paul, it's a little late, but I want to tell you thank you very much. And I want to thank you for being the city manager during the glory days of Inglewood before.
Don and I are thrilled to be here to see the fruits of this partnership between our favorite city and Mayor Butts and Mr. Balmer. It's really a spectacular achievement. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hold on 1 second. There we go. We're going to take a picture, buddy.
Yeah.
Right there. No, right there. Next up is Artie Fields. He was city manager from, I think, late 2011 or late 2011 till just a few months ago. And, I don't know, I'm not the easiest guy to work with, but Artie, he managed it very well, and he was here during the boom years of our prosperity. We wanted to bring him back and say thank you in front of the city for everything you've done, Artie. So it's your time to speak.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I haven't put on a suit since I retired in December, so I'm glad it still fits. But I truly appreciate this, you recognizing me. All of you may not know, but no decisions are made at City Hall without the mayor's direction and support. And for that reason, Mayor, I want to share this award with you, because without your leadership and support, the city would not be the city that it is today. So I thank you very much. Okay.
And as Dorothy said in The Wizard of Oz, and Scarecrow, I save you the best for last. Now I have to tell you, Mark F. Weinberg and I met in the police department. I think he came on in 1975. I started in 72. And he started off as an assistant to the chief, and I started off as a police officer. We would both rise in the organization, and eventually I'd be the captain of operations, and his office was right next door to mine on what we called Mahogany Row. And we had a racquetball court in the police building, and we would play racquetball almost every lunch. We had competition ladders. Mark was a fiercely competitive racquetball player. Had a laser shot. He had no compunction about hitting you in the back with the ball if you felt you were crowding the court. He was just vicious. But here's the thing. He was here when I came back to be the mayor as an interim city manager for 6 months. He retired, and then he came back and worked as an assistant city manager, and now he is the city manager again. He's one of the most brilliant people that I've ever met in my life. It's very seldom that you have a chance to reconnect with a dear friend that you've done great things with in the past, and in the winter of life, do great things again. So Mark, I want to tell you, we appreciate you. We want to thank you for all you've done for the city of Inglewood.
Well, thank you very much. That's generally a fairly accurate statement, except that perhaps the most ferocious player on the racquetball court, more importantly in the municipal landscape, is James T. Butts Jr. You know, he's a big hulking guy. If you haven't noticed, I'm not quite so large in stature, and we play in this little box called a racquetball court. And to do well in racquetball, you want to try and claim the center box there, or the service box. And so I would try and do it, and I'd bump him like we were playing ice hockey. I'd want to throw him against the wall. And of course, I couldn't move this guy. It was just concrete. But he was very capable of doing doing this, the real knocking around of me around the court. And he was always very generous and gentle in that regard. And I think I've always remembered that, when people tend to think that has this rough exterior and he's this brute force and so forth, that I'm very aware of the fact that he has a very gentle side. What he didn't mention was that years ago, when we were in the police department after a racquetball game, we sat down and we were chatting for a moment, and I said, I thought that was the bong for the time, and I said, Jim, you're a really bright guy, and you're going to be police chief here someday, and he said, yeah, Mark, and you're a bright guy too, and you'll probably wind up being the city manager someday. And I said, well, I hope so, because then you can work for me. And unfortunately, as things turned around, we did wind up in City Hall together on the 9th floor, but nobody reports to Mark Weinberg if his name is James Butts. So as it turns out, I was reporting to him again as mayor. But it's a wonderful capstone for me. It's my 3rd time back, first time as a permanent city manager, and then as an interim. And I'm so happy to be back now in a second interim state to be able to lead the organization briefly when we transition to a new generation of leadership. It's just been phenomenal to be here, and I really appreciate working with you, Mayor.
All right, so look, you guys, this is Tina McKenna, our Assemblywoman. And let me tell you about Tina. I played basketball in high school and college, and I'm gonna tell you, there's a phrase in basketball about go hard in the paint. Tina goes hard in the paint for Inglewood all the time, helping us get money, helping us get grants. And let me tell you something, she is relatively new, but she is a great, great asset for the city of Inglewood. And Steve, I think you should need to remember her name. Otto, you need to remember her name, Tina McKenna. So Tina, we thank you and we appreciate for all that you've done in your short time.
Thank you so much, Mayor Butts. I've been here in office about a short 2.5 years, and I have truly enjoyed our partnership. When I first met you, I was imagining just cleaning up Market Street. I didn't know I was going to get all of this in the district. And so my new phrase for Inglewood is up to all kind of good. And I look at the Intuit Dome, and Inglewood, we're going to party in this dome. So thank you, Mr. Balmer. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for everything that you do.
Next up is the brain trust for the inner sanctum of the city of Inglewood. And first up is Gloria Gray. Now let me tell you about Gloria. When I ran first for office in 2010, she was the only elected official in the county of Los Angeles that endorsed me. The only one. Everybody else endorsed Danny Tabor. He was an incumbent, okay? And she took a lot of grief for that, and I never forgot it. Now she's on the city council. Sometimes she gets on my nerves, I get on her nerves. But let me tell you something, there's no greater love. And I just welcome you to the inner sanctum of the City of Champions. We appreciate you. Can we give her a big hand?
Good afternoon, everyone. And first, let me thank my mayor, our mayor, the City of Inglewood mayor. Thank you very much for this recognition. I am the newest member of the council. I've been here for over a year, and it truly is a privilege to continue to serve to represent District 1 and to be part of a team that I do believe is headed for greatness. We're almost there, and some would say that we are there. But I do believe that this city is in a renaissance, and we will continue to achieve under the leadership of the mayor and the city council. So thank you very much for the acknowledgement.
Next up is Councilman Alex Padilla from the 2nd District. I met Alex when I was in Inglewood Police Department, and he was in the Santa Monica Police Department. Little did we know that I would end up being the chief of police in Santa Monica. And we would work together there for 15 years, and I would depart, go to the airport, run for mayor in Inglewood, become the mayor, and then he came and helped me on my campaign, my numerous campaigns that first year. And I was so tired of the District 2 person. I said, Alex, why don't you run for District 2? And you know what? He did. He turned out to be a political beast. And he is in his 3rd term right now. He's in his 3rd term. And there is no greater representative for a district than Alex Padilla. Alex.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And I just want to thank you, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be where we are and where we're headed. The mayor said earlier, you got to surround yourself with good people, people that have a shared vision, people that believe in what we're doing. And we're doing a lot, but we couldn't do it without your help. I want to thank the residents of Inglewood, our business owners, our nonprofits. Mr. Balmer, thank you for believing in us. Stan Kroenke. These are people that truly could have gone anywhere and be a success, but they chose Inglewood, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank my wife, Stella, for always being there and supporting me. I love you, babe. And again, thank you to each and every one of you, because you are Inglewood. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Next up is the dean of the council. He's the dean because he's the longest serving council member in Inglewood. I think he's got somewhere around 20 years. And when I came to the council, I knew nothing about politics, but he gave me situational awareness, and it really expedited my learning curve. And in the beginning, it was just he, I, and Ralph Franklin doing everything on a 3-2 vote. And he is a visionary himself. He's a very smart man, and he's one of my brothers, Eloy Morales, District 3.
Beautiful, man. First of all, I'd like to say that none of the speakers know how to count to 30 seconds, which is what they told us. But that's okay. And there's a couple of announcements I'd like to make. You know, our relationships are what drives this thing, because we know what lane we're in, and we know what we're doing. By the way, I did not endorse the mayor when he first ran for office. It's something that, you know, is part of our history together. But I keep telling him, you know, and he tells me that we kicked him off the ballot. We did. But if you think about it, he built character, and it made him stronger, and he ended up winning. So really, we're here because I kicked you off the ballot, man. I just want you to know. But when you grow up in Inglewood, you grow up in a city that everybody questions, nobody believes in outside of you. You grow up with this chip on your shoulder, always protecting it. When you go off to school, Inglewood up to no good. That's literally... everybody says it, right? I always say it's the first time I hear it, but you know, bottom line is you don't do anything without believing in yourself. And that's what we did here. And when opportunity came, like Jim said, when opportunity came, we had the courage to make those decisions. And it was a major piece. But the difference between me working with other mayors and me working with Jim is the fact that, you know, I truly believed him when he said, you know, he was willing to make certain moves. He was willing to take certain steps from the financials on to the big opportunities that such as this that brought us here. So it really became the belief in each other and the belief we had in the mayor. So congratulations to you, Mayor, and thank you for this moment. Welcome to Inglewood, everybody.
Next, we have the first elected Black African-American female for the Inglewood City Council, District 4, Dion Falk. Dion is she idolizes, she reaches for the stars. She is our campfire girl. She wants everybody to have a great time and enjoy being part of the city of Inglewood. And she is the architect of Women Rock, which is she and Aisha Thompson, our city clerk. Aisha, would you stand up too? And she is completing her first term, and she's been a great addition and a great advocate for District 4 and for the citizens of Inglewood. Dion.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little bit blown away. I didn't know that this was happening, and so I'm really excited. I want to thank the mayor for being a great mentor to me. I'm completing my first term on the council. I came from the Inglewood Unified School District Board, and I worked with our city council initially on the school board, and then had a great opportunity to be elected into the city council. And it was overwhelming at first. It's all guys, and I'm like, I'm the only girl. How's this gonna work? And I will tell you that no other group of men have been so accommodating and welcoming and mentored me. The mayor and Councilman Morales, Councilman Padilla, and Councilman George Dotson, who is no longer on the council. So I have had such an amazing journey here in the city of Inglewood. We have a great team at City Hall, as you can see, because they put this fabulous event together for you all. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, Balmer. I'm looking forward to working with you. And this is just such an amazing opportunity. So thank you all again. I appreciate this. Thank you, Mayor Butts.
So it took a minute, but we're almost done. But one thing that's important to me is that we don't leave anyone behind. Our next awardee is Ralph Franklin. He was on the city council. When I started, and I called him the third vote because without 3 out of 5, you can't get anything done. And Ralph was always there. He was on the council through the years that were make it or break it. He took the tough votes to cut the workforce, to get rid of lifetime medical, to put everybody on furlough, the tough votes. And we owe him a debt of gratitude. And so, Ralph, we want to give you this Architect of Change Award. Ralph.
Well, I'm truly honored to be here, and I've always said, to God be the glory. So when the mayor came on board, he realized that his cabinet, being the council members, he had to deal with some tough love. But he learned one thing in politics: you got to count to 3 out of the 5. And so, to whom much is given, much is required. And with that in mind, as the mayor said during his presentation, we as a council rallied behind him as our single spokesperson for the city. I represented the city on many boards to encourage and corral and get the surrounding South Bay cities all on board. And through that, we was able to get a lot of state dollars, county dollars, and federal dollars, and we're still moving forward. It's thanks to you and Inglewood for the vision that we could make a difference, and we are in fact striving high. As the mayor would say, we're soaring high, just like the phoenix coming out of the fire. God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, so look, check it out. We only have 5 more people to recognize. You know, this is history, and we can't leave anybody behind. I'm sorry. It's not just me. So part of what makes us great is we have stakeholders in the community that do things just because. And one of those people is Mara Morales of One for All. And she cares about children and collects funds so that kids can go to college.
My name is Mari Morales Rodriguez, and I am the founder of a nonprofit organization that is called One for All, but we call it All for Kids. I saw the need in keeping the kids busy after school. It was a church on 67 and West, and that I asked the pastor, can I use the church to help the kids? And he said, yes, you are welcome. Maybe 6 months after, the church was destroyed. And then I was left with nothing, and then I thought, okay, I will continue in front of my house. And I continued in front of the house, and the kids were following me, and it was great. I always have been happy helping others. We work with different schools, principals, teachers, and counselors, and they select the students that qualify to receive the OFA scholarships of $500 or $1,000 depending on the student's GPA. Lots of special memories that I have throughout the years with the families and their kids, but the best ones are the ones when I look back and I see the kids that we have helped, and now they are adults and they are good citizens. That makes me happy. Being recognized as a community champion means a lot to me, because what started as a dream now is a big reality and a big success. Thank you, Mayor Butts and city officials, for always supporting OFA Kids and for this award.
My name is Doris Elby, and I am the founder of 40 Love Foundation. I was born and raised in South Central LA, and I started playing tennis at a young age. I fell into it. I didn't know the sport, but someone introduced me to tennis. My first grade teacher was like, does anyone in your family play tennis? And I didn't know what the sport was, but I was very, very curious. So I'm like, yeah, my family plays tennis. So a couple weeks later, an organization came in, and they picked 10 students out of about 25. And once I started playing it, it became my niche. But that organization disappeared like around 11 or 12 years old. I didn't know what happened to it. So my mom was like, we can't continue, it's too expensive. But then I found Centinela Park, and Don Bly was here, and he would teach lessons with no money. He never turned away a student, so I became one of his students. So I think around 12 or 13, I continued playing tennis through the help of Don. And also too, it just ended up becoming my safe haven. I'm beyond proud of the work that 40 Love has done in the city of Inglewood. We started off with 2 kids. Now we have over 200 kids. And we have this one kid in particular that is just so near and dear to my heart. He was the first one in the program. He graduated from college, and he came back to serve this community. So he's one of my coaches, and he gives back to the kids every day. So just to have that cycle of community and give back is the goal of 40 Love. I believe that one of the most memorable moments that I've had in Inglewood since being here is being able to name the courts after Don Bly. Don was a very special person in my career, and being able to pass the torch from him to myself and being in that position to do it to the next child is everything to me. I really want to say thank you to the city of Inglewood, to the mayor, to the councilwomen and councilmen that we have, because if the city didn't take a chance on me, I wouldn't be able to give another chance to the kids that we have. We've done incredible things in the last 4 years, and being able to give back has been a blessing. And we're doing great things in this community, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
My name is Derek Steele. I am the Executive Director of the Social Justice Learning Institute here based in Inglewood, California. We were established in 2008, and since then we have been improving the overall health, education, and well-being of youth and communities of color. I'm a preacher's kid, so I grew up with service at the forefront of my life. We came through, and I say we because my wife and I both work at SLI, came through from the health equity lens. We were volunteering, right? So it was a ragtag bunch of us who are from this area, who wanted to see change for the better. So 100 Seeds of Change was the first initiative that the organization had that was created by Nicole Steele, my wife, and the young people that we were working with took that by storm. We built 126 gardens in this community. That's people's backyards, that's at the schools, that's working with the city to build Queen Park, which now to this day is still serving community members in various ways. So from a programmatic standpoint, we have our health equity work, but then the work that we began the organization on is the educational equity work, where we're in the schools working with young people, particularly young men of color. The program started with the Black Men Youth Academy at Morningside High School. We've had over 3,500 students who've come through our program over the years. We're currently this year in 22 schools in 7 different school districts here in LA County. That is just one aspect of the larger arc of the work that we've been able to do and make impact, starting here at home, right? Making sure that community members in Inglewood have access to these things, but then being able to broaden that work to the greater Los Angeles County community as well. So it is an honor to be recognized as a community champion and to have such amazing partners to kind of bring the work that we're doing here to the forefront. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Mayor Butts, to the city council members. We're going to continue to do our part, do our work, and excited to lock arms with everyone else. So again, we all can live whole, free, thriving lives in this amazing 9 square mile city that is the city of Inglewood.
Mari said, "Aren't we going to say something?" I said, "You said enough." All right, so now we have 2 people that are sons of Inglewood. They're champions. The first one is Byron Scott. I used to work the Laker games on overtime, had a front row standing seat to watch Byron. He's a NBA champion, and he's a son of Morningside High, and he has done so much for this community. I consider him a friend. We appreciate how he represented Inglewood before we made the turns that we've made. Byron, we appreciate you, and we have an award for you.
Mayor Butts said that I made Inglewood or whatever. You know, the community of Inglewood really made me. Growing up in this city was fantastic. Obviously, as a youth, you have a lot of things that you have to kind of navigate your way through, and I was able to do that, obviously, and get to where I wanted to get to. But I want to thank Mayor Butts for what he's done for the city of Inglewood, putting us back on the map. Because when I came into the league, it was the City of Champions, and now it is, again, the City of Champions. And Mr. Balmer, you are a fantastic owner. I wish you would have drafted me back in the day when I got drafted by the Clippers. But it's beautiful just to watch the City of Inglewood and what it's being able to accomplish. And I know you guys have some more goals that you want to accomplish that you're probably targeting as well. And I'm just looking forward to the next 5 to 10 years to see what you guys do. This is an unbelievable honor to be recognized for things that you do in the community, because most of us as athletes, we do these things not for the recognition. We do them because of the kids, and we're trying to leave a legacy for them to kind of follow in our footsteps. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you.
So if you honor Morningside, you got to honor Inglewood High, right? Now this guy, you know, everybody has their own look, but this is one of the most handsome basketball players in the history of the sport. Inglewood High graduate, UNLV. I know he's with the Clippers, I think with the Bucks for a minute, and the Kings. Reggie Theus. Reggie has always been a part of this community. He has always represented us so well, and we are glad to give him, grateful to give him a Community Champions Award. Thank you for all that you've represented the city to be, Reggie.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Thank you for what you've done for my city of Inglewood. Mr. Balmer, thank you so much for this beautiful building, all that you've done, all of you heavyweights in here. You have such economical power. And of course, thank you to Fred Rogan, who I watched grow up in this city also. And I thank Mayor Butts for his leadership in Inglewood. We go back with even my family when he was a policeman in Santa Monica, where my family was also working on the force. I am a product of Inglewood. I went to Daniel Freeman Elementary School in the late 60s. I used to catch tadpoles and frogs behind Darby Park before it became Carlton Square. In '72, I was with the first group of kids that integrated Inglewood High School from this side of Crenshaw and that side of Manchester. I met my wife in '74 at Inglewood High School. I remember walking down the street here in Inglewood, looking in the picture windows of the Sears and Roebucks, looking at our jump shots, making sure our form was correct. You know, it was just such an incredible time. I became the first athlete at Inglewood High School to come back and do a commencement speak for their graduation. And all of that helped me to where I am today. It helped me to my 13 years in the NBA, preparing me to where I am right now at Bethune-Cookman University as the athletic director and head men's basketball coach. Thank you. HBCUs are worthy of the conversation in this country. Thank you. You know, they give opportunity for first-generation graduates, and we have to support them. We all know that the infrastructure of HBCUs are poor at best, and they need your help. I take on the responsibility to give back. It's one of the reasons why I went to Bethune-Cookman, because I wanted to do something that was bigger than myself. And I'll go back to, because I had a chance to walk at Inglewood High School, walk down Manchester, go after those frogs and tadpoles behind Darby Park, it's what it built me and grew me into where I am today. So I thank the city of Inglewood for raising me the right way and giving me that opportunity, and Mayor Butts for being such a great leader. And thank you so much for you and your support, and all of you for building and keep building Inglewood proud. Thank you very much.
we have one final acknowledgement to make. I met Steve Bradford when he was on the Gardena City Council, and I was chief of police in Santa Monica, at a conference in Santa Barbara. He would go from there to the Assembly, I believe, and he's been our state senator for 2 terms, Steve? For 2 terms. And he has gotten us grant money to redo Market Street that we will spend at the time we start the ITC. He's always been a champion for the city. He's worked on legislation for Steve Ballmer's building the Intuit Dome to make it pencil out. And I want you to welcome to the stage Steve Bradford, Senator of the state of California.
It's an incredible day here in Inglewood. So give the mayor, the council, and all the amazing leaders of the city a round of applause for their visionary leadership. I'm honored to be here with my coach, Stevie B. When we were doing the legislation for Intuit Dome, Mr. Ballmer, the mayor, Jerry West, they all were in Sacramento letting my colleagues know how important this project would be, not only to Inglewood, but to the entire South Bay. So I'm honored to have played a small role in helping facilitate that. And I'm in my last year in the Senate, but I'm going to continue working with Inglewood. It's been an honor to represent them for 14 years and work with a visionary leader like Mayor Butts, the council, Ms. Camacho, all the amazing business members here in this community that help grow the city, the police chief. So I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you to opportunity to collaborate and be a part of this amazing transformation of the city of Inglewood. So thank you very much.
All right, as we get ready for the next portion of our program. And by the way, I found the TED Talk fascinating. The way the mayor explained everything, how the city got to where it was. Senator Bradford, come here for a minute. You're not in the TED Talk, come here. So I've known Senator Bradford for a while, and I want to say to the people assembled in this room, in collegiate athletics, there's something called NIL, name, image, likeness. It changed the game in college sports. And you want to see the guy, the brainchild behind it for the state of California, and ultimately what the NCAA decided to do? It's him. He's Mr. NIL.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'd give you a shout out for that. He's a great man, a terrific man. All right, so things are moving well. I really do believe, though, it was so fascinating to hear the mayor talk about how Inglewood got to where it was, collaboration, courage, vision, and you are sitting inside now living proof of that in the Intuit Dome. And I was sitting here looking at it. You guys can set up the chairs behind me. Go ahead. You guys get the chairs all set up? Good. I was sitting behind it. I was looking at it earlier, and you tell me as you look around, because we're blessed in Los Angeles. We've always had great venues, and SoFi, of course, speaks for itself. Is it me, or does it really seem like when you are in here, you are going to be right on top of things? Just look at the way the composition of the seats are. Look how close you'll be to the court. To me, this is going to be the most fantastic place you could ever watch a basketball game, or they're going to have concerts and other things in here. I think it's going to be fascinating when they turn on the lights and open the doors and let people in. I really do think it is going to be the model for arenas in the United States going forward, because it is just something. All right, now it is my great honor to introduce our moderator this afternoon, a leader whose visionary approach and steadfast dedication have left an indelible mark on our landscape of our region, Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. Yeah. By the way, the guy's always had that killer smile. Mayor Villaraigosa's career is a testament to transformative leadership. As the 41st mayor of LA, he spearheaded initiatives that revitalized the city's economy, bolstered job creation, and enhanced residents' quality of life. He secured billions of dollars for transportation projects, spurred economic growth, and improved public education, resulting in a 60% increase in graduation rates. He built more infrastructure than anyone else. He reduced violent crimes by 49%. And under his leadership, LA became #1 in reducing carbon emissions and #5 in the world. Before serving as mayor, he was member of the LA City Council and served in the California State Assembly as Democratic Whip, Majority Leader, and Speaker. He's also served as chairman of the Democratic National Convention and president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. Mayor Villaraigosa's vision and accomplishments inspire us all. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa.
I'm supposed to well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Come on. This is a great day. I couldn't be prouder to be here with Mayor Butts and the City Council and all of the people who helped to make this happen. As I understand it, I'm supposed to introduce everyone, and those introductions are supposed to be okay. With us is Jeb. Can you come on up, Jeb? No last names were included, but we'll make it work. If I could have Kevin also come. I do know Casey is supposed to be here as well. Yes, he is. Come on up, Casey. Patrick, Mayor Butts, and Steve Ballmer. But before let me just say, as I go up to moderate today, Mayor, I've been around, as you saw in that introduction, something like 30 years. And I was president of the Conference of Mayors, as you know, and I've never seen anyone in this short period of time accomplish as much as you have. Let's give Mayor Butts a hand, and the City Council, who are also his collaborators. Congratulations. So, you're in the middle. I'm in the middle. Okay, here we go. So really tough questions, everybody, so get ready. So first, Jeb. There's a lot of people that don't know exactly what experiential reality is. Can you tell people what they can expect when they come into COSM?
Yeah, firstly, thanks for having us here, Mayor. Amazing event. It's been fantastic. Mr. Ballmer, amazing facility. Incredible. What we're building at COSM, we think, is the future of live sports and entertainment. The perfect complement to the amazing facilities that we're part of, this heartbeat of the entertainment capital of the world. And we combine the best technology you can imagine, but combining it with the human experience. And that's what shared reality is about, is bringing all this together and the connectivity of the crowd and the fandom and the energy. These fantastic buildings that we're sitting in, COSM is the perfect complement of that. And it's meant to super serve the fans for whatever they love. And we're thrilled to be able to bring it here to Inglewood, the city of champions, and an amazing district here.
That's great. But tell us a little more about this experience, because I think people don't really got a feel or understand what it's like. If you could share some details, if you will.
Look, I'm happy to dig in. You know, I've been fortunate to be in sports and entertainment for my entire career, as an athlete, as an executive, as a broadcaster, all these various things. And I've been able to go to some of the biggest and best facilities and sporting events globally. And it's one of these things where the accessibility of a lot of the best seats in the house are hard to get. And what we're able to do at COSM is bring in that live format, that live game, super high-res immersive content, and give fans access that they might not be able to get on a regular basis, on a regular cadence. And when you look at the evolving industry as a whole, and you look at how fandom is pervasive, home games, away games, and all the various things that we see how fans interact and how the crowd comes together, that watch party you see when a broadcaster cuts to them on TV, that's what COSM is about. How can we create a facility, leverage the best technology in the world to create that experience on a consistent basis in a live format and just make fans say, wow. We always talk about our technology will wow you. You're going to come into COSM and it's going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
But our hospitality is what will win at the end of the day. And the feeling we're able to deliver for fans, that's what we focus on time and time again.
Mr. Mayor, could I just jump in a little bit?
Absolutely.
I had the opportunity to go to the facility, and so in a nutshell, if you can't get tickets to the Super Bowl, if you can't get tickets to the NBA All-Star Weekend, you can go to COSM, stand or sit, and feel like you're in a front row seat at the 50-yard line or right there in the middle of the action. That's what COSM is. And it only costs you like $33 instead of $300 for a ticket, right? So that's the best way I can put it.
Look, we're trying to provide approachability and access all the time for the biggest and best events in the world and serve as a complement to all the stakeholders in the district. That's our whole focus. We want to make sure we're additive to the entire experience, and it's the best seat in the house, ideally, every step of the way. It's truly incredible.
How many places in the world have an experience like this?
This is a one of one. This is the first of
one. Did you hear that, everybody? The only place. What are we expecting in the first year? How many people are going to go share this experience?
Look, we're expecting to host over 1 million people annually coming through our facility, and this is
1 million people. And how much will that generate for you and the city?
We expect there to be a ton of economic value, but the key about what we're trying to offer is 7 days a week access and vibrancy and footfall as we look at this entire community, not just within the middle of the Hollywood Park district, but also the adjacencies. How do we make sure there's foot traffic day in, day out, and not just on the biggest events, but the non-match days, the pre, the post, to make sure fans can come and spend time here. And if fans can spend time within this ecosystem, that will drive economic value for every stakeholder across the entire district. And that's the core focus, is making sure fans feel comfortable spending time within the community. And when that happens, economic value will follow. We're confident in that. And between all the stakeholders on stage today, I think we have a great shot at doing that and making a sustaining, just an amazing experience for fans 24/7.
That's great. Thank you. Big hand for Jeb, everybody. Kevin, after 3 short years, the Rams have been champions of the world in professional football. You've built the most magnificent and largest stadium in the world, along with a promising mixed-use development around the stadium. What do you see on the horizon for the expansion of Hollywood Park?
Well, I think we're surrounded by it, whether it's Jeb coming to the retail district, whether it's Steve and this amazing facility, whether it's Casey and the Olympics. I think you're basically looking at what's coming next. And I think both from an event standpoint, we have the World Cup coming in 2026, which I think they just put out yesterday will be $600 million of impact from 8 games coming to Hollywood Park and to SoFi Stadium, which will be the largest tourism impact in Southern California until your event. Followed by the Super Bowl in 2027, which was the previous Super Bowl impact and largest tourism event in Southern California, and then the Olympic Games in 2028, and be the first building in history to host the World Cup, the Super Bowl, and the opening ceremonies of the Olympics ever, let alone in 3 consecutive years. Then you add in Jed and what's going on at Hollywood Park, whether it's Iconics Fitness, the number of people that are moving into the apartments, the opening of Sinopolis, which is the first movie theater in the last 30 years to open in Inglewood. It's been an amazing expansion to see Hollywood Park truly start to come to life, not just from a SoFi Stadium YouTube theater perspective, but truly becoming an epicenter of Los Angeles.
You know, we've talked a lot about the leadership of Mayor Butts and collaboration with the city council and some of the people who've been honored. What made you
come to Inglewood?
Well, I think it goes back to, and the mayor can tell the story better about having lunch with Stan Kroenke and saying, I think you should bring the NFL back to Inglewood. But, you know, truth be told, and it does go back to the City of Champions in the Forum, this was always the spot the NFL wanted to be in Los Angeles. And it went through a lot of twists and turns in the 90s, but ultimately, this is the right spot to build the sports and entertainment capital. And so I think once you can look at getting 300 acres in the heart of Los Angeles, in the heart of Inglewood, the access from freeways, the ability to build the most transformative sports and entertainment district in the world, it was a no-brainer. And then I think if you look at how easy Inglewood made it to work with the city to reimagine, there was, and Casey knows this, I think you know this, the amount of starts and stops with the NFL in Los Angeles over 30 years, you know, basically meant that you could never get anything done. And I think once you unlocked the vision of Mayor Butts, the opportunity in Inglewood with an owner who was passionate about delivering the world's greatest stadium, you finally had the formula to make it work.
That's awesome. You want to chime in, Mr. Mayor, as you did it?
Well, look, here's the thing. Stan Kroenke came and showed up downstairs, and they said, Stan Kroenke's here to see you. And I said, who's Stan Kroenke? Okay, and they said he's the owner of the Rams. And so Eloy's assistant, Jaime, brought him up. He was in cowboy boots, jeans, a jacket, and a cowboy hat. And Andy Camacho was with him. And Jaime thought Andy Camacho was Stan Kroenke, and he tells me. And so they get in the elevator, and Jaime's paying attention to Andy. And Stan starts to say something, and Jaime basically says, go away, you bother me. I'm talking to the man. And so when they got up, met Stan, he talked about it was supposed to be a 15-minute conversation. And that 15-minute conversation ended up being 2.5 hours. And when he left, we had the framework for what was to come. And he called me back a week later, because I recommended, instead of just there being a football stadium, standalone stadium, that maybe he would explore a joint venture with Stockbridge Capital, he had 60 acres, they had another 130 acres that they could leverage. And so I said, why don't you think about a joint venture with them and assuming their entitlements, and we'll figure out the rest about the football stadium. And he called a couple weeks later, and he says, Mayor, he says, they want $1.4 million an acre. And he said, we only paid $600,000 for the Walmart site, an acre. And I said, Stan, you know why they want $1.4 million? I said, because you want it. I said, pay the money, you'll never regret it. And you know what? They came to a deal, and look at where we are now. I think you guys should give Stan Kroenke, Otto Malley, and Kevin Demoff a big hand, because they were the eye of the tornado.
Mr. Wasserman, you have the show of all shows coming to Los Angeles, Southern California, the 28 Olympics and Paralympic Games. Why did your organization pick Inglewood to host some of the games?
Well, first, I think it starts with the leadership Mayor Butts has shown for a long time that has allowed all this to happen. The second piece is you've got what Stan and Otto and the team have built, and Kevin has led, that is really the greatest arena on earth. And what Steve has done here, I mean, just if you take a second to look where we're sitting, this is truly spectacular, and Steve deserves all the credit in the world for building this. You know, the Olympics are operated at a scale that's hard to comprehend. I mean, I always tell people it's the operational equivalent of 7 Super Bowls a day for 30 days. You know, Kevin talks about the World Cup. We will produce a men's and a women's World Cup, full scale, as one of our 36 sports in the Olympics.
Wow.
So the scale of the Olympics is unique, and what you need is world-class facilities to host them. So just take Steve's building here. It will be now officially, even though he told people before, it's the home of basketball. We will have the men's and the women's basketball tournaments here. We will play every game in this building. I think it's like 46 basketball games in 14 days. You can't do that in any other facility probably on earth except Intuit Dome.
And why is that?
Because the technology, the infrastructure, the design ethos, all the things that are built in here, we will load and unload this building 4 times a day. Crowd, game out, security, crowd in, game out, 4 times a day for 14 days. It's stunning, and this is what allows you to do that. You go to SoFi, we're going to put, which is now public, we're going to build 2 swimming pools in SoFi. If you saw the swimming trials this weekend, you'll see what it looks like. And then we will cover it up and we'll have opening ceremonies. And then 5 days later, we'll have a swimming competition. You can't do that in any other stadium in the world except SoFi because of the quality and the caliber. And then you have a partner like we have with the city of Inglewood to facilitate that with the Forum and all that surrounds here and its location in the city, airport, west side, South Bay, sort of in this centerpiece. And you need to be able to use the best facilities in the world to put on the best Olympics in the world. And we are fortunate that, frankly, when we started this journey, which is in 2000, well, you and I started it, I don't know, in 2008 or something, but and when we started this bid in 2014, and when we got the games in 2017, SoFi and Intuit Dome didn't exist. To have these 2 buildings fall from the sky is really one of the greatest gifts for this city and this community, and it's spectacular. And the Olympics will be a truly powerful event for all of Los Angeles. Every corner of the city will be touched by it in some way. And in many ways, what we're doing here is the real heart and soul of it.
And give him a big hand, Casey Wasserman. By the way, everybody, he's going to get really upset with me. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday. He's going to be upset.
By the way, if anybody has any question about how influential Mayor Butts is, he asks you to do something, the answer is just yes. So it doesn't matter if it's your birthday or not. So I'm here.
You come.
I don't have a Super Bowl ring to wear like Kevin. Jesus, I mean, this thing is like, it's bigger than your hand.
City of Champions.
Because we have you, and I know the Olympics are coming, can you share a little bit more about some of what else is going on in the region?
With the Olympics? Yeah.
Yes.
So the Olympics will be here. We are July 14th, 2028 will be opening ceremonies. The way I would describe the Olympics in Los Angeles is everybody gets an Olympic Games and they have all these great ideas, all these innovative ideas, all these super forward-looking ideas about delivering the games. And then they wake up the next day and they go, oh, wait, we have to build an Intuit Dome. Oh, we have to build a SoFi. Oh, we have to build dorms or things. And I joke that we wake up in the morning and we have all those venues so we can actually spend our time on those ideas. I mean, just for the analogy for basketball, Paris was supposed to build a second arena in Paris for basketball for the Olympics. You can't make this up. There's one air-conditioned arena in the city of Paris, the Accor Arena. They were going to build a second. For cost purposes, they decided not to, and they moved basketball to Lille, which is a 2.5-hour train ride away from Paris. So everything except the quarters, the semis, and the finals are in Lille. We are going to deliver the Olympic Games. We won't use a single venue in Orange County. We won't use a single venue in San Diego. We won't use a single venue in Ventura County. We have such a riches of venues, and it allows us to focus on all the experiences for the constituents. We want to make sure the fans, the athletes, the community, the people who don't get to go to games, how do they feel and experience the games, has to touch every part of this community. And the other 2 things we're really focused on. One, we are in the middle of investing $160 million, so we are subsidizing all the youth sports in the city of LA delivered through Rex and Park. So $5 for every kid, no matter what your zip code is or what sex you are, you can participate in sports because sports is one of the great equalizers.
That's awesome.
And we are doing that in advance of the games even happening. And then I truly believe that Los Angeles, in the broadest sense, is one of the 3 great cities in the world. And my hope that is in 2028, the world will see that, and the next 50 years will be better than the last 50 in LA.
I love it. Big hand, Casey Wasserman, birthday boy, and the man who's making the games happen. Jeb, question. So COSM, how will it interact with the games?
Look, we have a lot of planning that we can do. I mean, our goal as we look at its location within this district, right? And by the way, flying over, there's no better flyover coming into LAX over this district than anywhere, arguably, right? Our goal is to complement the biggest events, right? As we can be that heartbeat, that activity, that always-on place to showcase and give fans that access. That's how COSM is going to participate and make sure we're driving value to the stakeholders that matter within the ecosystem. Starts with the fan. Then you look at the rights holders, the Olympic committees, you look at the broadcasters, you look at all the people and the stakeholders that participate within this industry that we're in, and COSM is here to super serve that and complement it. And so when we think about the activity and around it, it's going to be about driving that footfall, driving that access, and being a destination where fans can also come and participate along with celebrating all these other events that's going on.
That's great. Dr. Soon Shang, how are you? Now, I don't have to tell you that Los Angeles Times is the newspaper of record and the largest daily publication on the West Coast. And so at the 30,000 feet level of everything that goes on in this metropolitan region, how is this, magnificent initiative on the part of the city of Inglewood going to leverage and catalyze economic development in the region from your vantage point?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us here. Mayor Butts, I think when we came to this country, the Forum and Inglewood is what we fell in love with, and the Lakers, obviously, the Showtime Lakers at that time. And with Steve now building this magnificent place where it still is the home of really great basketball in the city. I'm so glad to hear about the sports and entertainment. The country needs, children needs this inspiration of, as you said, the common denominator is sports and entertainment. And as you know, as the country is sort of, and in the world is in such turmoil, the opportunity to get inspiration and joy, which is so important. I think clearly we'll be, as a newspaper, watching this 9 square miles of incredible what has been done by Steve here and Stan, and together with the Forum. But importantly, as I watched some of the presentations, this idea of gardens and tennis and the community spirit that's going on here, and that's inspired by this mayor and the council. I watched this little 9 square miles, and this could be the Singapore of LA County, where it's 88 cities in which it becomes the impetus.
I like that.
And clearly around us, from the economic, the opportunity to not only build, clearly there's jobs. And I have to give a little shout out to Drew Boyles out here from El Segundo, which is close by, where there's enough manufacturing and what's going on around here to integrate with the city. The world of what we're doing there, at least, we're building the next generation battery factory, solar factory, next generation green. One day we'll talk to you about that, a material that will actually replace bioplastics and rubber in the football fields. We talked about that from the ocean. All that economic vibrancy will be integrated here with this idea of sports entertainment. A little secret, Mayor Butts and I had a little secret program. May I reveal that a little bit? Probably around the end of July, we'll be releasing where we need to compete with the platforms at LA Times, a live stream. And you could visit Inglewood, and all of a sudden, if you press a button, you'll be able to see live Inglewood. You press another button, you'll see LAX, you'll see Malibu, you'll see Point Dume, you'll see. So we'll be able to create a live stream of visiting LA, and that'll go live probably end of July, end of August, in which LA Times still has 50 million views and availability, so we can involve the community about this great city.
And how will you access that?
It'll be on the website, on your phone, on your device, no paywall. And the idea is to bring in, we're even going to bring in high school basketball, sports, a health channel, making arrangements with the BBC, news, something that food. So the opportunity for us now to change the LA Times to a news network, so to speak, is an opportunity that we're going to try and take advantage of. But more importantly, to really try to bring the community to have access to, California still leads the world, leads the nation, and maybe the Singapore of 88 countries, cities in the county, will lead sports and entertainment.
Thank you. Big hand. Mayor Butts.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
Prime Minister Butts. Singapore. Wow, Mr. Prime Minister. In your talk, and I'm not kidding everybody, we've known each other a very long time, but I've never seen anyone, any mayor, any city in the period of time that we're talking about come from on the verge of a bankruptcy to what we have today. A golden city, a city of economic prosperity, a city that's good for business. Mm-hmm. And I think those of us who know Southern California, there aren't a whole lot of those cities. So what you've been able to do is nothing short of, I won't even say amazing, miraculous. To move a city isn't easy. To move, to collaborate in the way that you have with the council, and in the way you acknowledge them, I thought was, a real pillar of how all of this happened. So, big hand to him again. In your talk, it was kind of like a TED talk.
It was a TED talk.
I hope somebody taped it, and
I hope so too.
Yeah. You talked about the lessons you learned and tried to share with other jurisdictions. I thought that was great. I think sometimes in the 88 cities we forget that, to most of the world, I've been in China multiple times, and people would tell me, I voted for you. And I'd say, oh yeah, where do you live? I live in Temecula. I got it. They see this as a region. And clearly, you've understood the importance of collaboration and cooperation with some of the other cities in the region. Tell me some of what you think in terms of the key points to grow and blossom economically here in this region.
Well, let me tell you something. First of all, to grow and blossom anywhere, what you have to realize in government is that cities are seen usually as having three major functions: to provide for public safety, to provide infrastructure renewal, and to provide for recreational and educational opportunities for youth. But there's a fourth component, and that's to provide an environment for economic development. When I left Inglewood and went to Santa Monica, I came to learn that cities that depend on their indigenous sales tax generation and indigenous property tax generation will do well in every boom cycle of the economy, but in every recession, they will have given benefits and wages that they cannot sustain, and they'll go through this schizophrenic cycle of crisis and prosperity. And that's not healthy for cities, it is not healthy for employees, and it's not healthy for residents. And what it does to employees, it gets employees to a point where The only thing you focus on is that check that comes every other week or once a month or what have you, and they have no investment in greatness. And everywhere that I've gone, my objective has been to create an environment and an organization and to model the behaviors of responsibility so that people would understand that they're part of something bigger than themselves and what they do matters. Now, in most cities, employees come to work every day, and whether what they do today has something really to do strategically with what they did yesterday or what they will do tomorrow is pure accident, because most cities are not engaged in strategic vision planning. And if you don't do that, then people are just coming to work. And this is the thing that got to me, that when I left Inglewood, went to Santa Monica, and then there was a concept that I went to a city that was better than Inglewood. And I came to realize when I came back, no, they weren't better than Inglewood. I was involved in an operation where this was the way we planned and the way that we executed. And in short order, because I would tell you 7 years is short time in the evolution of a city, we have the best employees in the state of California. I'm just one person, but the leader can be an example. And like give me an example. So I come back, we had a temporary service that was doing payroll for the city because we couldn't afford a full-time person. And that person was Sharon Quakey. Today, Sharon Quakey is the finance director for the city of Inglewood. Sharon, would you stand up? And this is what we've done. We've rewarded competence, determination, and loyalty to the city, and it has manifested itself that when our opportunities came, we were prepared to seize them. And that's what I attribute, our rise to, the totality of a team effort of the employees, the council, and the community.
Yeah, come on. You talked about your service in the city of LA. We worked together when you were director of public safety or whatever the title was.
Counterterrorism, public safety,
traffic,
public safety, counterterrorism, emergency management.
You and I share something. My 8 years LA went from the most dangerous big city in America to New York, the safest, a 49% drop in violent crime. Share with me, the connection between making your city safe and economic development and the vibrancy that comes along with it.
That is such a great question, because first of all, when you have a city that is high unemployment, what in general people don't recognize is that there are people that have to survive. And when you develop a subset of the population that believes there is no hope, then you're going to have more crime. That's a fact. And that ties right into one of the things in every development agreement, whether it be for the reconstruction of the Forum, the construction of SoFi, the construction of the Intuit Dome, the development agreement contains a 30 to 35% local hire goal that is manifested by verified payrolls paying prevailing wages, and the unions have to agree that they're not going to go by straight seniority for people that work these jobs. And then you have an organization like the South Bay Workforce Investment Board with Jan Vogel that we can say, we'll get you the people. And so you end up cutting your unemployment rate by 2/3. You have a hard-to-hire provision that says you cannot refuse to hire someone because they've been convicted of a felony. And so now on any given day on this job.
Yeah, come on. Get excited, everybody. Jesus.
Or the Sulfide project, you had 100 formerly convicted felons working from wages of $60 to $90 an hour and learning a trade with the iron workers and the steel workers. And so now you transform the ethos of a community, and now we're in our 9th consecutive year of the lowest crime rates in the history of the city.
Wow. Lowest crime rates in the history of the city. Wow. By the way, you know where local hire started, my friend.
With you, my man.
Down the street. And we're proud of it because you put people to work, you change their lives. And I can't tell you the number of times I went on a construction site and met some of those people who had committed felonies, who had been in prison. And I'll never forget a man by the name, I used to call him Tiny because he was a very big man, electrician. He picked me up when we were breaking ground on a project, and he picked me up in the air with all the cameras there, and he introduced me to his daughter, who he had, after 20 years, been reacquainted with, and he told me he was buying a home and a family. That's what a job does for a man and a woman. Big hand to Prime Minister Butts. Steve. Wow. Yeah, let's give him a big hand, everybody. Whoa. There's been a lot of things written about how you came to pick Inglewood to be the home of the Clippers. We'd like to hear from you about the inner working of your decision to make the move and what you can share with the audience about why you decided to come to this great city.
Happy to answer, but is it okay if I first say, howdy neighbors, we'd like to introduce ourselves. We're the Clippers. When I bought the Clippers 10 years ago now, one of the real attractions to me was we didn't need to build a new arena. That was like a feature. You know, you go, any other place I looked, you'd have to build a new arena. Not with the Clippers. I thought, this is wonderful. My partner, Dennis Wong, and I, after about 6-9 months, we said, we gotta get out of here. We need our own home. We need our own place. We just can't stay in Staples. No offense to Byron Scott. We got to get out of here. And we looked. We looked all over the area, actually. We looked in Playa Vista. We looked at the old LA Times building downtown. We looked and we looked and we looked. And there's a lot of things that can get in the way. You've got to find a big enough piece of land. You've got to have, most pieces of land in this area aren't big enough. So you really need to have support from the city and how that's going to work and putting things together. And I would say we were probably 6 months or so, I don't know exactly, into that. And this site looked interesting. But we knew we needed the city's support because the city owned most of the land here. So first Dennis, and then Dennis and I sat down with Mayor Butts, and there were two things that were clear. Number one, that he was interested in working with us on this land, and number two, he was interested in working with us. Not in a way that was, oh my God, you know, he's going to be easy. Mayor Butts is not easy. I'll just tell you that. On the other hand, he was a man who wanted to do business. I didn't tell you this, but we are 2 days away from the end of our lease at Crypto.com. We needed to be in here today, Mayor. Our lease was up. We started working. The location here is perfect. It's even more perfect, frankly, than I thought it was when we started out. When we started, I just said, oh, it's a great piece of land. The mayor's great to work with. The city council. We're going to get the support we need to to be done. We didn't have a choice. We had to be done, as I said, in 9 years. Now to me, I'd never done any construction. Heck, my wife had done the remodel project on our house. I didn't know nothing from nothing. And it was going to be, I thought, okay, we'll be done plenty early. The building will like sit empty or something until the next season. It's 9 years, and it would have been a lot longer if we hadn't come to Inglewood. So beautiful. The site, beautiful. We could build the arena we wanted to build. You need enough land to do that. We had visited 20 arenas. We looked at Barclays Center in New York, and it's just kind of too scrunched in to do the kind of thing we want. I mean, look, I said this to Casey many times. We wanted to build the single best basketball and concert arena in the world, and we needed the land to do that. This was a great location. We're in the right place for traffic, and then little bell goes off, ding, 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 ding. SoFi is here. And when we started, the full benefit of being next to SoFi wasn't really in my head. There are ways in which we will participate together. We bring people in on nights the Rams and the Chargers don't. Fantastic. I love having the retail space, the cinema right across the street from us. Traffic will only get better and better and better here because it's got to get better and better here. There are places that we looked where we just couldn't have depended on that. So there are a whole range of factors that said, why Inglewood? Location, collaboration, clear commitment to economic development. As the mayor said, what looked to be our biggest bump in the road were the people who owned the forum at the time who just didn't want us to be here. Come on, and they weren't exactly being nice to the mayor either, I'll highlight. He said, come on, mayor, is there anything to do? Is there anything to do? And it was the mayor who said, why don't you just buy the damn thing? And so we did. We now have 2 entertainment venues, one on each side of SoFi just to keep it simple. We also felt pressure. Thank you. If they're going to have the single nicest stadium in the world, we had to have the single nicest arena. You put all those things together, and this really, I don't think there's anybody who should disagree with this. The best entertainment venues in the world, you'll get a one-off someplace else. You know, the Sphere in Las Vegas is nice, there's a lot of things. But if you want to have the best places for the best sports, for basketball, for concerts, for football, for swimming, I didn't know you'd wind up swimming in SoFi, but to these 2 gentlemen, I say, way to go. This is it, man. Inglewood, sports capital and entertainment capital of the world.
Love it. Tell us about some of the amenities that make this facility unique, different, and best of class.
Okay, I'll try to keep that to a reasonable amount of time. First, take a look up here. Just take a look behind the stage. 51 rows, no suites. You can see how extra steep it is. We want to have fans who get energized, almost like a college gym, if you will. So we put in this steep rake so people are right on top of the game. The whole bowl has been designed to be tight, intimate. I think you really get a feel. This is the first time I've seen this many people in here. It feels pretty intimate to me. I think that's great for concerts. I know it's great for basketball. If you take a look up, it's a little dark in here, there is a ring that goes all the way around the court. That is our scoreboard. We have an acre of scoreboard up in our place. Rams did this, very clever, with the ring that goes all the way around SoFi. This is the first one ever done in a basketball arena. You can't see it today, but when we light this puppy up, you're going to see pretty damn amazing It's 4K. It literally is an acre. It's 43,000 square feet of scoreboard. The average NFL stadium's got 9,000. We feel pretty good about that. We're going to be able to bring this place to life. Fred was joking around about the darn urinals. Ladies, I'll correct that. They are actually fixtures, which includes both toilets and urinals. And yes, we have, by density, if you can't get out of your seat, go to the bathroom, and get back quickly, we fail. Food. When we started, we were going to have more places for people to get food, get back in their seats. And then along the way, it occurred to us, why don't we make it like your living room? You get up, you walk to a kitchen, you grab your stuff, and you come back. No cash registers, no point of sale. If you want to register your game face, you don't even need to tap your phone or credit card. Walk in, grab what you want, get back to your seat. We've got markets that work like that throughout the building. There's a couple other, we have an extra basketball court right here in the building just for not only sponsor events, corporate events, events that we can do off cycle, but we also will do community events with non-high school kids here in Inglewood. The NBA won't let us do anything with high school kids, but we can have non-high school kids in here. We wanted to do a plaza outside planning to join the City of Champions. That is my life goal, 3 years. That sounds like a good time frame. We just got to get the right people on our team at the right time. We put our practice facility here, so people are coming in, going out every day. This is not a, we don't play 41 nights, by the way, Mayor. No, we play playoffs too, baby.
There you go.
Sorry,
there you go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to correct you, but I just had to. I had to. We have a jersey up from every high school outside in the hallway. 1,300 jerseys from every high school in the state of California, with a particular wall of honor to people who played for the Clippers. Reggie, your jersey's not up yet, but you'll see a Reggie Theus jersey up here. And Byron, if you were a Clipper for a minute, you're going to see your jersey up here too. So I think there's a lot of things that are great, or at least I'm excited about. I just got my fingers crossed that everything works the way we want it to work. I have no doubt, but I'm an anxious person by nature. So, it's the first time we've tried this out. We have in every armrest, there is a laser light. There's electric power to the seat, so you can charge your phone at every seat in the building. We built a joystick controller into every seat. So if you want to interact with the big board, we're not asking you to get the app, pull it out. Literally, you can sit there and tap and say, okay, I think, the answer is A or B, or get in the race by banging those darn buttons. It's like a little video game. Big screen, I'd say, for this video game, but just a mini little controller. Just a few things. I know I said I'd be short, and I wasn't. No. A few things we're excited about.
I love it. Don't you? This is amazing. And I love your energy, Steve.
No, he's fired up.
He's fired up, not taking no more. So, Mayor, I want to end with you. So tell me a little bit about that spur with 3 stops that's going to connect this campus.
Well, let me tell you something interesting. As they try to bang us to 1 minute. But anyway, hey, you guys
Steve's
ready
got a
to leave
punch
yet? Okay, they're not ready to leave yet. So look, here's the deal. This thing about the transit connector, I call it the super train. This is my idea. Now let me tell you something. Everybody doesn't agree with it. And the reality is this, I really don't have to do this. I think my legacy is secure as a mayor. I've assembled close to $2 billion. Never in the history of the United States of America have 3 different levels of government, federal, state, and county, felt the desire, inclination to invest $1 billion, let alone $2 billion in a city.
It's because they believe what I envision is necessary. It will be uncomfortable during construction. There will be a time that it's not fully utilized. But there was a time when people never believed that people would give up their horses to drive cars. It was proven by Kevin and Otto's success with the Beyonce and the Taylor Swift concerts that people will use mass transportation when it suits their needs. Ridership on the K line, which runs down Florence, jumped 35% for the 12-day period of the 6 Taylor Swift and 3 Beyonce concerts. It is my belief, long after I'm gone, if we obtain the last $300 million to do this, that everyone involved will say, you know, he's kind of crazy, but I'm glad that he did this. And I know the citizens of Inglewood would be glad because there will be much less traffic. We've dealt with traffic since the 70s when the Forum opened in 68 or 67, and the racetrack was doing 46,000 people a day, 6 days a week, against an outbound of 43,000 against an inbound of 17,500 at rush hour. So we've had traffic in the city before. The situation is more ideal now because football is mostly on Sundays, sometimes on Mondays, sometimes on Wednesdays, Kevin?
Once on
Thursday.
Tuesday.
Once
now on Thursdays.
Okay.
But like Steve, we play in the playoffs too. So.
Oh, exactly. So the point that I'm making is, for load, we don't have the load throughout the week like we did. But the reality is that these venues are going to be so popular and they're going to make so much money that we'll come to a point in the future when we will, if we're able to pull this off, be glad we did this. And that's my belief. And so that's the whole reason for the push for the ITC.
Something tells me you're going to get that couple of $100 more million from somewhere. I know you got a few $100 million from the state. So with that, everybody, Mayor Butts, City of Inglewood, City Council, give them all a big hand, and all of our speakers today, thank you so much.
Okay.
This concludes the 2024 City of Inglewood State of the City Address and Economic Summit. As you exit the arena, don't forget your complimentary swag bags. Special thanks to all of our sponsors and community partners: Centinela Hospital, Clear Channel, Intuit, City of Carson, Boingo, Insomniac, Hollywood Park, Trifoletti Consultants, the Los Angeles Rams, Marvin Engineering, Kaiser Permanente, Wow Media, and Cork and Batter for helping to make this year's State of the City Address one for history. Please get home safely, and we'll see you all in 2025.